Welcome, one, welcome all. I am Bridger, and we are jumping back here into Mr. President, our examination of the most powerful office in the world. Well, at least in this game world. We are at a decent point. We are halfway through the year. You can see this is a turn sequence. You go down each column one at a time from left to right, and we have just finished the activation phase 2 of 4. So we're popping back up here, and in a moment, China is going to act in much the same way that Russia did their thing earlier in the turn. Of course, China has different obligations and priorities, so we'll see how that winds up working for us. Let's quickly examine the field and the things that have happened recently in this game. We had a bunch of events come up that were sort of one-time events, and we can see those here. The Supreme Court ruled that extraordinary rendition was illegal, so they freed the Guantanamo prisoners. That made people both happy and sad. We had a bunch of good events, actually, more than I expected to find. So that was nice. We got together with Russia and China and helped out with some kind of humanitarian crisis in Africa. Unfortunately, there were some issues in Central and South Asia as a result of this rebel assault in Pakistan. We had Greece defaulting on massive debt to German banks. That certainly is hurting the European economy. Here's another one where European banks actually divested from Russia, which hurt the Russian economy. Maybe as a result, you could kind of chain those together in your head. We did also have this scandal right when we came into office. There were some irregularities with the way that our party did fundraising. So we were able to sort of admit blame and push past it. So this has gone out of the game. We managed to take the heat and we're on to the next challenge. We had a summit to tackle regional alliance and security concerns, and finally we had a rash of bombings in the government buildings in Manila. So we were able to, that popped up a level 3 terror group, I believe, in the Asia Pacific map. Let's see, how are we doing there? I believe we were able to reduce that to a level 2 terror group. We almost had a catastrophic failure there, I believe. We rolled a 10 on one of our terrorist raids, and it was going to have really bad repercussions, like lost the whole Spec Ops squad repercussions. But we were able to re-roll it and got luckier the second time, and so the consequences were not nearly as dire. So those are the issues that we had this year, this half a year. Jeez, and that's not even it. There's a couple more, because we had these reshuffled events. We had a nice 9/11 anniversary speech that worked to help things. The Fed raised interest rates, which made our relations with Congress are just terrible. We had violence in Kashmir. So all of these things are coming back into the game potentially next year. Meanwhile, we also have these cascading events. The only good cascading event I've ever seen is this one that's on top. We'll get to that in a second. Cyber theft of sensitive intelligence and government information that threatens national security. So these cascading events we have to remember and deal with before they come back up. So this one says if cyber strategic capability is less than the cyber capability of Russia or China, +1 domestic crisis. So we have to try to make sure that we stay ahead of them on cyber warfare. Unfortunately, we're only at parity, and there's nothing we can do right now. I think this year we can try to prioritize to get it fixed next year, but boy, that's going to be tricky. What else did we have? What else we got to pay attention to? Japan was clashing with China over disputed islands, which means we have to get rid of Chinese influence in Asia Pacific to make sure this event doesn't cause us problems again. A major earthquake hit Los Angeles. That means we have to deal with the cleanup costs over a long period of time. We have to make sure we keep 3 action points always available, because if we don't have enough, really, really bad result. So yeah, we're gonna have to pay 6 action points just to continue paying for the cleanup and a tensions counter. Our cabinet is going to be busy dealing with that instead of other things. We also had a Chinese cyber attack on our allies. And I think that's just going to hit us. I don't think we can even prevent this from happening. There's no benefit to this. Not that there's normally a benefit, but there's no way to deal with it. And then we had the one good cascading event here, which is just going to be great. Elon saves the day, apparently, with the U.S. companies leaping ahead with new reusable rockets. So yeah, that's a thing. All right. Stream died. Let me see here. According to me, I'm seeing it still in effect. So I'm sorry, Zayexel. It looks like it might be something on your end. All right. So that having been said, China's going to act. They're going to improve their cyber capabilities, probably. That's going to be bad. All right. Let's go ahead and see what happens when they act. I'm popping open the book that unfortunately I can't show you because there's no electronic version of it. Begin by possibly changing China's posture. Posture is at 1, which is good for us. The tensions total is 3. Ooh, that got a little close, actually. If China's at posture 1 and their economy is 3 or 4, they might increase their posture just to distract from the bad economy. Lucky for us, 5 is probably where we want their posture to be, or their economy to be. If it's at 3 or 4, there's a chance that actually, not that there's a chance, they would increase to 2. So we don't want their economy to be bad. I think Russia's going to flip to 2 in the future to distract from their really, really bad economy. All right, excellent. Zyxel is back. And if anybody has any questions on the chat, please let me know. We'll try to answer it for you. So their posture is going to stay the same, luckily, because their economy is good enough. They don't have to change and get more aggressive to distract from their bad economy. All right. Now, China's relationship with the U.S. If the sum is 0 to 1, place a trending pro-U.S. counter. So there's no other effect then. Our relations with U.S. is still at number 4. And then we immediately remove these 2 tension counters and we replace it with a single tension counter. It always reduces by half every time you check the tensions. So next up, what are they doing? They're improving China's strategic capabilities. They're going to try to improve 2 of them. So first priority is any place where China trails the U.S. by 2 or more boxes. So they're going to try to increase this, and they need to get on a 1 to a 4. So we roll, and they did. Son of a bitch. All right. Is there any other place where they get behind us? No. That means I really needed them to miss on that first roll, but it is what it is. Now, if you have 2 more actions left, attempt to increase both cyber warfare and national forces. Naval forces, if only one of them, choose randomly. So odds are going to be cyber warfare. Okay, they're going to try naval forces training and tech. So they need a 1 to 4. They didn't get it. All right, so of their 2 improvements to strategic capabilities, their R&D department has failed on 1 of them. But they did get better at strategic recon and intel gathering. All right, next, they're going to conduct espionage. They're going to make 1 attempt because of their posture, which is going to be a 5. Steal military secrets / war plans. If possible, increase the strength of the U.S. opponent by 2 in any current war. That's not going to happen. Otherwise, increase China / Japan's relative strength by 1 in China's favor. So if you recall, these tracks track potential wars. And right now, China has a +1 if this war were to break out. Not that that really matters, because if that war breaks out, the game ends. So that's very bad. But we're still moving on. We might try to utilize some of our diplomatic acumen to reduce some of these tracks. Specifically, I'm thinking the Iran and Saudi Arabia track is probably valuable to lower. And honestly, Russia, NATO, and Russia, Ukraine, I could probably also try to lower those because those will help also usually remove tensions with Russia at the same time. Okay. We didn't have any DRMs on that. Still checking. Yes, we didn't have any DRMs. So attempting to improve China's economy. They don't have any sanctions on them. What about China's influence? They have one in the Pacific, one in Central South Asia, one in the Middle East, and one in Africa. So they get a +4 to this roll. And then a -1 from having a decent relationship with us. So that's a +3. Place a, wait a minute, -1. I'm sorry, -1. They get a -5 on this, actually. So they get a 3, 1 to 3. So place and improve. So their economy improves to peak performance, which is not great. I kind of liked it when it was in recovery. But calculate the number of Chinese actions. They get 1 fewer because of this token here. So we can remove that now that we're reducing it by 1. So their actions are going to be 7 -1. So we're going to go ahead and mark that here. They start with 7, which means they have 6 left after we perform the first action. Are they going to try to quell rising dissent by addressing internal issues? Roll a d10 and add 1 for China if posture 2. Subtract 1 if China's SOE is 6+. So we subtract 1 from this roll. It's a 6. No effect. Okay. Then we go to reinforcements. They're not at war. Remove, reduce sanctions on China. No. Extra war progress roll. No. So they've still got 6 actions left. Now they're going to conduct a cyber attack. That's a 5 left. The cyber attack is going to target, discredit and replace U.S. as a major trade partner in Asia Pacific. So we roll, and we're hoping they get a failure on an 8+. Nope, they succeeded. Adds 1 Chinese influence to Asia Pacific. Now we have to get rid of both of those now. That's really difficult to do. 1 belt, 1 road is the next action, which means they are going to be down to 4. Okay. This is one of the longest actions in the game, by the way. Once we get through this, we'll be cruising. Place a trending anti-U.S. counter on China's relations with the U.S. track. Man, it's always a downward spiral from that. Then perform the following steps using a list of the Belt and Road regions: Asia, Pacific, Central South Asia, and Middle East, and Africa, and Eastern Europe, and the Eurozone. Everything but Central and South America, basically. Count the number of Belt and Road regions that have either 3 or China base. No. If there's 0 to 1 such regions, perform option A. Okay, so place 1 Chinese influence counter on the 2 Belt and Road regions where China has the fewest influence counters. Well, I think that is Eurozone and Eastern Europe, to be honest. Unfortunately, Russia has enough to get a base over in Eastern Europe. So I'm going to have to do a bunch of rolls where we try to reduce their influence. Okay. Regardless of which option you choose, immediately place 2 tension counters on China, 1 tensions counter on Japan, India, Australia, Republic of Korea, Gulf States / Saudi Arabia, and Russia. Fuck, just put it on everybody, I guess. Jeez. So 2 on China and 1 on Japan, India, Australia. So India. Oh, did we not finish? We didn't finish this. Okay. So they have 4 here, so we need to replace that with 2. 2 new ones. Now they have 3. So Japan also gets a tensions marker. Japan, India, Australia, Republic of Korea, Gulf States, and Russia. The Republic of Korea, Australia, first one that they've got. Gulf States and Saudi Arabia. And Russia. Ugh. I don't like how many tensions counters Russia has. We're going to have to do something about that. Okay. We still have more actions. I believe we have 4 left. So we need to decrement that. Now we're going to have 3 left. Expand China's influence in neighboring regions. They don't have 3 influence, so they don't get to put a base, thankfully. Make 1 roll on the first region specified, blah, blah, blah. 2 China influence and no base in Asia Pacific, and 1 or more influence in Central South Asia. That is not true, actually. We got rid of their influence in Central South Asia somehow. Otherwise, attempt to expand Chinese influence in the first in the Middle East. Okay, so we're realigning in Central South Asia. So 4, place 1 Chinese influence in Central South Asia. Oh, that plus 6 actually means we don't place it because our regional alignment is high enough that they do not get to place it. So that was lucky. Okay, so now they're down to 2 actions left because they're spending another one on reinforcing allies, build military, and use force. Do they have a relative strength on China, Japan, or India-China conflict track that is equal to or lower than China or India? Not here. And not here. They have a positive outcome. Pakistan is not at war with India. If the India-Pakistan conflict track is 3 or higher, no. So we skip that and we go to secure sea lanes. If there are at least 2 Chinese influence counters or a China base in Asia Pacific, roll a D10 and add 1 to China's posture. Oh, if it's 2. So we just roll. And a 1 to a 6 is build or enhance mining, drilling, and military outposts in South China Sea. Place a trending anti-US counter on China's relations. Oh my God, that brings it down to neutral. And add 1 tensions counter to each of China, Japan, Australia, and Republic of Korea. I really hate it when China acts, guys. That's really, it's rough. All right, attempt to expand China's, this is the last one, right? Yeah, I think this is the last one. They're going to attempt to expand their influence in Central and South America. Central America for realignment 7, and there's 1 to 2 influence, 0 to 2 in Central America. So no, they're going to try in Central America, which is roll a d6 and add 5. If it's 10 or lower, it's not. Whew, we stopped them somehow. And yeah, I believe that was their last action. So they're done. The bad times are over. Where's our good times roll? Good times have to come soon, right? I remember seeing a thing that let me roll on the good times table. I think it might have been one of these shit draws, actually. So now we get to do any 3 actions. I'm going to start by trying to reduce their influence in Asia Pacific, if possible. Let's see. That's a diplomatic master action. So let's pull this up and see if we can't find it. Attempt to remove Chinese or Russian influence counter in 1 region. It only be used once per activation segment, and only if regional alignment of 7 or 8, or 6 if crises are 0. So we can do it there. On a 1 to a 6, you may remove 1 Russia or China influence counter from the region. So we're going to do that now. Got it. All right, we get rid of 1 of these, and there's no major fallout. I think what we'd love to do is increase alignment in other regions that have Chinese influence that might help us get rid of that. So Africa looks like a decent situation. Let's try to increase our alignment in Africa. Because remember, when we do that, it makes it less likely that China is going to be able to place new influence in those regions. The other option I can do is like a summit. Oops, I removed the wrong thing down. Is a summit. So we've done 1 action. We did a Russia summit last time. We could do a China summit this time. The problem is that has the chance of increasing their tensions, but we do need to increase our relations with them. Why not? Okay, for second action, I'm going to decrease tensions, and I'm going to decrease tensions on an ally, I believe, which just lets you immediately remove 2 tension counters without rolling. So that will get rid of 2 of these on Japan, which I think will be good. And then I want to decrease tensions, and I want to decrease tensions on... No, I think we want to have a summit. I think we want to have a summit with China. And then hope we get lucky on the rolls here. That's probably what we got to do. Okay, so we're going to have a summit. There's only 1 per activation phase, which is why I have to mark that it was used, but the Russia summit is also available again. All right, so our relationship with them is a 3. So we only get to solve 2 problems. I'm going to try to improve relations, and we're hoping that it is a 5 or less. Use the DRM listed at the bottom of the current box. Oh, okay, so it's a 0. So here we go, 5 or less. Come on. Yes, excellent. They see it as their best interest to improve relations, so we get to place a trending pro-US counter on the relationship track. Then we could try to improve trade, which helps us potentially remove tensions from China and gives us an action point and improves our economy and China's economy. Our economy is doing pretty well. It can do even better, though, so that's not a bad idea. Stabilize Asia, Central Pacific. That will help reduce regional crises and remove one tension from China and each U.S. ally in the region. That's actually very good. One tension from each U.S. ally in the region and one from China. I'm doing that. We're going to stabilize the region here. So we're going to roll, and we're hoping again for a... remove sanctions on China if none place it. Ugh, okay, they're going to trade is going to have to improve if I do this. Oh, no, a 9. They're demanding +1 China influence counter in the chosen region and +1 AP counter. We can't agree to that. We can't agree to that. So we have a half successful summit. So we roll to see what the result of that is. Oh, God, it's -1 AP. Damn it. All right, well, we did get one decent thing out of it. So we lose an AP. All right, so we reduced tensions. We got rid of 1 Chinese influence, and we lost 1 AP with that summit, which, you know, it's not the worst possible outcome. We did improve our relations a little bit for the future. Improving relations, anytime you can get the relations into the 5 box, it's so much better to just keep it there if you can do it, because they act much less aggressively. All right, now for the bad times. Oh, Russia acts again. I should have sent another summit with them. Okay, so this is a minor, smaller version of the Russia Acts segment. Hello, Flatwater. Welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. Is this a game that you have that you own, that you have played, that you're thinking of picking up, or are you just dropping in to see what it's about? All right, they make 2 cyber attacks, and then they select another random action from the final list. Okay, so what is their cyber attack target? Is 9, which is target Eastern European democracies. That's what they did last time. And in this case, we want it to be 8. Oh, it's a success. Adds a Russian influence counter to Eastern Europe. Oh my God, it's real bad over there. It's real bad over there. They're going to build a base, and then we're not going to be able to get rid of it. All right, Flatwater. Well, welcome to the first year of my presidency. It's going okay, but China and Russia are gaining influence and power throughout the world, and we're going to have to try to work on curtailing that. Anyway, I believe that's the only bad thing we have to deal with. Oh, sorry, there's one more roll after the cyber attacks. They get 2 cyber attacks. I jumped the gun here. They get 2 cyber attacks, so their next target is again the Eastern European democracies. And again, it's a success. This is awful. Just awful. I have no idea how we're going to reduce their influence there. Maybe NATO and or the UK can help reduce their influence. We'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky with their rolls. Anyway, the last thing we have to do is have them roll... Yeah, it's not the espionage thing. It's the cyber attacks. And then they're going to roll to determine what the other event is. It's an 8, which is assist North Korean missile program. God, ram it, China. Or Russia? Russia's doing it. Okay. If the Russians' relations with U.S. are 3 or less, unfortunately that's true. And North Korea's missile track is on 1 or 2. That's also true. Attempt to help North Korea improve their nuclear program. Roll a d10 and add the number of sanctions counters on North Korea, not their value. I think there's UN sanctions, so we add a +1. We're hoping for at least a 5. Yes, okay. They weren't able to help the North Koreans with their missile program. So here's the good news. If you get a plus symbol on this token, then you have to keep drawing as long as you keep getting plus symbols until you've drawn 3 of them. In this case, we did not get a plus symbol, so that's the end of the bad stuff, and it's on to our allies to act. So here's hoping things go well. Group 1 is EU, NATO, Republic of Korea, and Iran. I'm glad that we reduced the tensions a little bit over here. I think we should have done Republic of Korea then. European Union procedure to update the economic trends. So we're hoping that the economy gets better. 1 to a 4? Yes, excellent. Place an economy improving counter on all 4 tracks. So the European economy is considerably better. The Russian economy is better. Oh, hang on. You only place a trending, so that stays there. China's economy gets better, and the U.S. economy gets better. So, oh, yes, excellent. We are now in the best position for the state of the American economy. Then we roll a D10 on the Eurozone. -1 or 2 if the stability is 6 or 7. So -1 is an 8. Uh-oh. EU discord, +1 to EU regional crises. Ah, man. That could have been good stuff. Oh, well. Activate NATO. So NATO is a very close ally, so we get 2 relations. They have no tensions, which is beautiful. So we get to do some joint actions with them. We're going to attempt to stabilize this region, and I think we're going to do it twice. Oh, no, it says 1 max. So we will do it on a 1 to 5. Damn. All right, well, that's too bad. What else can we do here? There's no terror cells here in the Eurozone, so we could try to de-escalate the NATO track with Russia. That's what we're going to do here. Attempt to decrease the status track away from war by 1 level. Action not as loud as strange. Roll D10. So 1 to 7 is a success. All right, now we're going to roll for the unilateral action. And that is a 5. Counter terror. Decrease 1 level 321 terror group in Eurozone by 1 level. It has no effect. Do we re-roll if it has no effect? Let me see. Nope. Doesn't look like it tells us to re-roll if no effect. That's too bad, because it could have been deploying troops. Oh, well. So, after NATO, we activate Republic of Korea. So we're going to get 2 joint actions with them. This, let's see, the crises are at 0. Let's use one of those joint actions to increase that and that. And then we could use a joint action to knock that terror group out. So the raid against 1 terror group in the region's target fixed box. So the reason a raid is good to do now with this ally is because the with the local ally working with us, we get a much better chance here. So -1 if there's a Spec Ops and a U.S. Intel counter. I don't have a U.S. Intel counter. Crap. -1 if there's an FNI. -2 if it's a joint ally raid in Eurozone or Eastern Europe. -2. Oh, damn, this is not actually good. But if it's a joint thing and it goes wrong, they can't blame us for it. So here we go. A 4 is a success. Decrease the terror group by 1 level, move it to the gathering box on the Intel track. So that's the 2 joint actions that we've done with them. We've lowered that terror cell, and now it's in the gathering box. Okay, so now we have to roll their unilateral actions. What are they going to do on their own that we don't have any input on? A +3 on the tensions. So now we are going to replace this with 2. And let's see, their unilateral action table is +1 for every 2 over here. There's not much on North Korea. And half of that is another 1. So that is now going to be a +3, which is a 7. Increase regional trade. Remove 1 China or Russian influence. Oh, thank God. That was so useful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Republic of Korea. You are a winner. Ha ha ha. Loving it. Loving it. All right. So, what else do we do in this phase? I just ran past it for some reason. So, after the Republic of Korea, activate Iran. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so Iran's got a tension of +1. So that's going to add to their roll here. And regional alignment is not 6 or higher. So it's just going to add a +1 to their roll. We want it to be low. Oh. Strengthen Hezbollah. Move Israeli and neighbors' relative strength track 1 in favor of the neighbors. Okay. So now Israel has lower relative strength to their neighbors. All right. Next, final action, check unstable states in Central and South America. So here's an unstable state. We're going to roll regional stability is 4, so we're adding a +1 to this. That will keep it on the map. Here it's not 4, so we're hoping for a 1 to a 3. Ooh, an 8. Ooh, keeps it on the map. It doesn't. So this is checking to see if unstable states either A, become stable, or B, turn into a civil war, or C, there's actually a chance, if it's an unstable area, that they turn into a level 1 rogue state. In this case, though, that's the end of the phase, and we're moving on. All right. So next up, we have POTUS and cabinet focus. So we're going to get to remove these tensions when we're done. But for now, let's do these in order. So we're going to address a domestic crisis, which actually we have none. So it's just going to give us 2 presidential action points if we succeed. Come on now. Yes, 1 to 5. Oh, technically we need to roll a d6, which was successful. Okay, so we get 2 action points. That will be very helpful going into the second half here. Then number 2 is cabinet effectiveness. We're trying to improve our cabinet effectiveness on a 1 to 4. Got it. So that means we now get to roll a d6, place an improving marker on our cabinet. That actually brings our cabinet up to 6. That's very good. Now we have a much better chance of actually improving our relations with Congress and other things. Number 3, press and public relations. 1 to a 3, we got a 1. So either place 3 public approval, or let's give 1 to our media relations and 1 to public approval. We're at 42% approval, people. We are above our starting position. Good job, everybody. Now we're going to try to improve relations with Congress on a 1 to a 3. Oh, of course, that's the one that fails. Come on. They hate us in Congress. We're pariahs, apparently. That's too bad. Okay. All right. Now I can't do the economy or homeland security because of these tension markers. So at the end, though, we do get to remove 1 of these tension markers. So next up, we're moving on to -1 media relations. We just increased it. Now it's down again. And then we've got 2 domestic actions. Well, I'm going to try to improve relations with Congress one more time. Domestic relations with Congress is if your party controls both houses of Congress, you can forego a roll. Otherwise, roll a d6. -1 if your relations with Congress is your number 1 thing. It's not. We're not respected by Congress. -1 if you have spent 1 AP. But because it's on there, we can spend 1 AP to cancel it out. But we still need not a 6. Come on now. A 5. No change. And we can only do that once per segment. That's so frustrating. All right. The other domestic action we can do is to potentially, let's see, improve the chances of our bill passing. I think that's a presidential action. Use the bully pulpit to rally support for or against a bill. We're an orator, so we get a -1 here. Bipartisan cooperation is in the cooperative box, so we get another -1 here. That's very good. But +1 if your relation with Congress is 4 or less. So we get a -1 total to the roll, and we're hoping for a 1 to 3, which means we're hoping for a 1 to 4. Yes, excellent. If you are for the bill, move it 1 box left on the pending track. If you are against it, move 1 box left. Okay, so we are for increasing NASA funding, so we're going to go ahead and increase that by 1. Education reform remains in that box. And now we are on to the legislative segment here, which means, this is activation phase 3 going into the legislative segment. There we go. So, determine support or opposition to pending bills. So we total the legislative ratings of all of our friends in Congressional Friends box, then subtract the total rating of our congressional opponents. If the result is positive, you may move that number of bills. If the result is negative, the legislative rating of your opponents exceeds that of your friends. Move the number of your bills 1 box towards, oh, okay, yikes. So they're going to pull that bill back by 1. So I guess it's good that we increased it. Attempt to pass bills. The number, and so we're going to try to pass both bills because bipartisan cooperation is in the 2 box. So it doesn't matter which one we have to pass first. We're just going to try them both. So we're going to try increase NASA funding. We're looking for a D6 where it passes on a 1 to a 3 with no modifiers. Come on. Damn it. All right, now we're going to try to pass the education reform. Also fails. Yikes. Okay. Sign or veto bills, 0. Add legislative friends or opponents, 0. Now we have to do an how the sausage is made roll, which is always a nightmare, especially when our relations with Congress are so bad. Okay, not that. Congressional maneuvering and drama table. Sigh. So our relationship with Congress is what? It's a 3. So we get a -1 because of bipartisan cooperation is very high. So that's good, I believe. Yeah, looks like it. Where's the thing where it checks? Oh, that's at the very end of this. Okay. So we get a -1 for that, but we get a +2 because relations with Congress are so bad. We just needed to hit that roll. Wait a minute. We could spend a AP to re-roll that. I keep forgetting that that's a thing. So we could have improved that, in which case we would re-roll again with a flat thing, and we're hoping for a 2 to a 3, or a 3 or less, actually. We got it. Okay, so we did increase. We forgot to properly account for it, but we did increase it. Just barely. And now, this is not going to be quite so bad. Public approval isn't nothing, blah, blah, blah. Friends outnumber opponents. Okay, so we're getting a total of -1 to this. That's much, much better. So let's roll it. It's a D6. Okay. A 4 with a -1 is congressional agenda. Add a new bill matching the highest public priority that isn't already in the pending bills area as opponent's legislation. If the bill was one of your administrator's 3 priorities, +2 APs. Okay. Tax reform. It is one of ours, so we get +2 APs. Okay, that could have been worse. I think I rolled a D10 on this last time. By mistake. And it gave me some really bad results. I should have rolled a D6, because I think I rolled a 7 on it. Well, you know what? We're going to play it as it lies. We're not going to undo all of that. But in this case, we got a much better result. So tax reform is what's going up on the docket as well. And if all public priorities, blah, blah, blah. So they've just added to their congressional agenda. Now they're going to get to add more of their bills, I think, here. So introduce new bills. Remove all bills currently in the cannot be passed box. You may now voluntarily remove one of your bills currently in the box. Because you can never have more than 5 bills in the pending bills section, you'll sometimes want to remove a bill or 2 that are lower priority to make room for higher priority bills. So we can add up to 2 bills if you control both houses, blah, blah, blah. So we're both going to add a bill. We're going to find out if they go first or we go first. So we're going to roll a die. Odds is us. Okay, they go first in this case. And tax reform is supposed to be listed as opponent's bill. And then the next one is they're going to want to propose a cybersecurity bill. So flip this to opponents, and then I get to pick whatever I want here. Maybe I should pick Let's remember, by the way, State of the Union. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting any of these. What kind of things do we want to do here? I think lingering domestic issue is going to be the bill we want to propose. So we've got 2 bills up there for next time, and they've got 3. Okay. Now we determine the media result, and we look at our friends, and it's tied, so nothing happens there. Then we look at this, and it's a moderate and a radical, so bipartisan cooperation does not move. We did not pass any legislation, so there's no legislative momentum, and we're done with that step. Unfortunately, we're not going to get another legislative segment until next year, and that means because we didn't pass our campaign promise, that we are going to get some upset constituents. So next up, we've got a crisis card draw. Only one crisis card. Al Jazeera requests interview. We could choose to accept or decline. If our prestige is greater than or equal to 6, we get a lower. And I think our prestige is 6. So, place 2 trending pro-US counters in 2 of the 3 regions of your choice. That could be really good. But it's a D10. And there's a 10% chance of a trending anti-US counter. And a 20% chance to increase a terror group by 1 level because we said the wrong thing. But if we decline, we decrease media relations. I think we've got to take the chance. Results will affect Middle East, Africa, and Central South Asia. So let's roll the die. -1 because our prestige is high. Yes, 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 yes. 3. We can place 1 trending pro-US counter in 1 of the 3 regions, my choice. So let's see. Let's do it in Africa. It'll actually make it pop up to 6 here, which is quite beneficial. All right. And that is just a standard event, no cascading effects. Look at this Africa. The terror group in Africa, I'm going to want to take care of that. But otherwise, no civil wars, no civil war ceasefires, and the regional crisis is not really a problem. I should probably move that Intel advisor from the Con US down here to help deal with terror groups there. Is there any... I have enough Intel advisors to have them everywhere except the Eurozone or Eastern Europe at the moment. I could probably pull these ones out of Africa once we deal with the terrorism. If we can get Africa to just be like perfectly stable for the last 3 years of our government, I'm going to consider that a win. That's probably for the best. All right. So that was the only one we had to pull off of this chit. So now we go to Focus National Intelligence. And that has got its own chart here. So we get -1 based on this chart. So we get -1 there, plus or minus 0 there. So let's roll and see what we get. In this case, it's on Central South. -1. Oh, effects on terrorism. Move a level 3, 2, or 1 terror group to the gathering intel box. So it's never bad, but boy, that did not really help us much. Lots of stuff there that we'd like to get up here, but it is what it is. Okay, next is an action for POTUS and each cabinet member. So POTUS, the presidential actions, there are quite a few that are good for me because I'm an orator, including a UN speech. I've been having a discussion with somebody on the forum, though, on the Board Game Geek forum for this game. This is just flat out a much better action than, what is it, the diplomatic attempt to increase the region's alignment. This has a 10% chance to backfire, and it fails probably half the time. This one succeeds 70% of the time, 80% if I have the, and it does basically the same thing. That's too good. I'm sort of going to play that this costs an action and an action point whenever you do it. So I think we're going to start with that to get a trending for US counter on any region in the world. Alternatively, I could use the bully pulpit because I'm going to try to get my bills going. I think that's what we want to do. We get a -1 for orator. Hold We can also try to get public approval on our side and media relations. Let's do that. We have orator, and we're going to spend a presidential action point here. So we get a -2 to this roll, and it's a prestige check. So we have to get 6 or less, which means we actually have to get 8 or less. Roll for it. Yes, excellent. That means it's a 1 or less, 3 public approval and 1 media relations. We had a very good presidential interview where we looked very presidential and stuff. So our media relations is up and our public approval goes up 3 boxes. And that can be very helpful. If you notice, a lot of those domestic things, the higher our public approval is, the easier it is to get those things done. So that is very good. So now our vice president gets 2 actions. So let's see what things he can do. He could do some diplomatic actions, including trying to remove a Chinese or Russian influence counter. I think we have to do that one, right? Eastern Europe is in a bad state that we have to deal with right now. So it's a regional alignment of 6, but only if the regional crisis is 0. Damn it. Okay, well then we're going to try to reduce the regional crises here. So we got to roll for crisis relief, -1 for the diplomatic rating of our Secretary of State. And if stability is 6 or higher, but it's not, unfortunately. So we roll, and it is successful. So it goes down by 1 box, and we get a second action. We're just going to do that again, and it is successful because we had a -1. Now our Secretary of State can attempt to remove this influence here. So they're going to roll, and they're making a regional alignment check, which means they want to get a 6 or less. Son of a bitch. Maybe they should try to make a trade agreement instead. We still can't fix the damn Congress thing. Let's have our chief of staff try to fix Congress. Our relationship with Congress, that is. So we will spend an AP to do this. So we spend -1. It's a 4 or 5, so it's a +1. So now let's roll. And we're trying to get, it's a D6. We're trying to get a 3 or less. Yes, absolutely yes. Okay, 1 or less. We got a new friend in Congress. Excellent. So congressional relations are up, and we get to draw a new friend. That new friend is unfortunately radical. Radical. Milana Tome, welcome to the resistance, or the establishment, I guess, is how it is. All right. So that was the first of our, we can only do that once. We could try to have our chief of staff address these lingering domestic crises. I think we have to do that now before this gets worse. Right now, the fact that we have these lingering domestic crises means that trying to reduce future domestic crises has a +1 modifier, and it's an auto loss if we let this go too long. So definitely we want to do this. Cabinet effectiveness check. Our cabinet is pretty effective right now. It's at a 6. And the domestic focus is our #1 priority here that we set early in the year. So that's a -1, but it's a +2 for all of these rolls. So we are at a +1, so we need a 5. Got it, got it, got it. Excellent. Okay. So that is a pass. So we lower a lingering domestic track by 1 and +3 public approval. Things are getting better, and the people have recognized it. Thank you, people. Thank you. That was our chief of staff's second action. So now we're going to use, actually we used our Secretary of State after we used our vice president to try to deal with the Russian situation in Eastern Europe. Now we're going to use our Secretary of Defense. And I think one of the things we should use them for is to pull these army units out of locations in the Middle East there. So we're going to pull this heavy army unit here. And that means it's in transit, I believe. If an in-transit heavy army is selected, flip it to its combat side instead without moving it. Otherwise, flip it to its in-transit side after move. So that was one military action. Another one is going to be... let me double-check the consequences here. At the end of the year, the more... American, I think it's ground forces. So I don't think the USAF has an impact, but I think it's ground forces. The more forces we have out in the board, the worse things can be for us. Where is it? You place a new U.S. military footprint counter in each region to match the number of non-intel, non-air, non-spec ops. So that's what we got to move out of the way. Is those three? Is anything except for those three? So we got rid of the heavy, and the air can stay here without penalty. The Army light we can move out with our other action back to the U.S. forces holding box in the continental U.S. So that's our 2 military actions. So we're done with that. Next, any 4 diplomatic or military actions. Well, I'm going to continue the... Well, actually, we've got a new action segment. Let's use a new opportunity to try to remove Russia from here. So that's a diplomatic action, and it's a regional alignment check on a D10, 1-6 result, remove... Wait. Oh, okay, never mind. It's not a regional alignment check. It's just a straight up 1-6. Got it. Okay, there's one less. One less thing to worry about. One less thing to worry about. And then, let's continue the process of moving the Army out. That's 2. 3 is to finish this. 4 is to move this Intel advisor down to here to deal with terror stuff going on over there if need be. All right. So the good news is no more U.S. military footprints in the Central South Asia. Currently, also none in the Middle East. There's gonna be one here in Asia Pacific because there is a permanent USMC that we cannot move and a permanent heavy army. But the heavy army doesn't count. The heavy army is in Korea. But this USMC is going to hurt us. There's also a permanent carrier that I just moved to here because it's cleaner, but it basically can only affect that box. All right, that's all 4 of our actions. Now we're back up to crises. Good times! What a crisis? What did I say? Not crisis, good times. Let the good times roll. Quite literally, we'll be rolling for good times. So roll a D10 on the D15 good times table. Okay. There are no modifiers. This is a straight D10. Oops, I keep hitting it. F1 on my other thing. But I don't want to hit it on the other thing. A 10, visit a local school. Read stories to first graders, playfully talk back to their teacher, and then serve your time out standing in a corner to a gleeful audience of students. Play Foursquare on the playground. Compete valiantly but lose at dodgeball. Finish your visit with a brief meeting at the school's teachers. Thank them for their service, their patience, and their commitment. +1 public approval. +1 media relations. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We're finally in positive in the media relations situation. Then add a new friend in Congress, representing a new friend from this school's congressional district. Okay. Things are looking up, except for that whole, Russia taking over the world thing and the fact that they're very radical over here. But aside from that, things are looking up. So let's see what happens next. There is another draw here. 2 more crisis cards. This is where it punches us in the teeth. World economic downturn. What did I say? What did I say? If the world economy's booming card is not face up near the map, i.e. has not occurred this year, place a worsening economy counter on all 4 state of the economy tracks. Okay, so we're still in a positive shape there. So is the EU. Russia is getting worse. China's getting worse. And +1 regional crises in 3 different random regions. If this event occurs, leave the card face up near the map until the end of the turn. Okay, I guess we'll leave it basically right here. And now we find 3 random regions and increase their crises. So a 4 is Middle East. Oh, no! We failed to notice that Middle East crisis were bubbling over into a major crisis. Oh, boy. That's on the first page of the world charts because it knows you're gonna hit. Knows you're gonna hit it. Oh, Zeisel, we were too. What was it? Too much hubris here. Okay, so the DRM's on this major crisis roll. Stability at 6 actually lowers it by 1. That's good. -1 per very close ally. Unfortunately, it's only -1. The Gulf states are still only close. So -2. +1 per non-ceasefire civil war. So that's a +1 again. So it's -2 total. Yep. -1 total on this track. Here we go. A 7. Terror networks. Deploy. Roll a d10 to determine the region. Do I really have to... Major regional... Oh, they deploy from here to somewhere else. Okay. A 10 means they go to the continental U.S. Place a level 1 terror group in the continental U.S. Make a homeland security check. Pass, no attack, but terror network plans and build sophistication. Increase highest level U.S. terror group by 1. So we've got decent homeland security. It's increased before. Let's roll a 7 or less. Whew. All right. So the only effect is that the highest level group increases by 1. So, no. We want to increase that by 1. If only it was that easy to delete terror groups. You just right-click on them. If we failed, though, a terror attack would have hit us. So we dodged that one. But now we have to deal with this before it gets bad. Which means we need to pull our intel back. Oh, that's terrible. I just deployed it. Ay. Okay, so that was our first regional crisis increase. This gets reset to 2. Now we have to find 3 others. A 4 means it's the Middle East again. It can't be the Middle East again. 6. Oh, no! Oh, no! That's terrible. So this is now a +1 -1. So it's a straight up roll. Come on, we need it to be low. Oh, God, that's bad. Decrease regional stability by 1. Oh, it's so hard to increase stability, though. If there's a U.S. ally in the region, decrease that ally relationship. Oh, that's also brutal. We forgot. We stopped looking, apparently, Zeisel. We were, there were things that were bubbling under the surface, and we did not deal with them. We were too busy. Russia was keeping us very busy here in Eastern Europe. Didn't I get rid of one of those? No, I did that somewhere else, I guess. I thought there were 4, and I got rid of 1. Did I forget to click on it? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe there were 5. What else here? Place a trending anti-US counter, and then a possible refugee crisis. This is terrible. We've made a terrible mistake. If the region is South or Central America, if the region is Central South Asia, the expanding crisis creates a flood of refugees that overwhelm local capabilities. Place a -1 AP counter on Russia, and place a -AP counter on 1 U.S. ally in the region. All right, that's not the worst. And then we add a -1 AP counter on Russia to compensate. Okay, let's roll again. A 4. We still can't do 4. A 1 is the Eurozone, so crisis in Eurozone goes up by 1. All right. All right. Are you done yet? That is the first card of this second set. Let's pull another one. Is it the first card? Hang on. Yeah, the Al Jazeera thing was a long time ago. New automation technologies create huge increase in Chinese factory production. Oh, good. The Chinese economy is getting better. +1 AP on China. Ugh. Place 1 Chinese influence in Asia Pacific. We just got rid of that. Oh, son of a... And 1 Chinese in a random region. 7 is South America. If China's relationship with the U.S. is 3 or higher, place an economy improving counter on the U.S. and a trending pro-U.S. counter on China-U.S. relationship. Okay, so that actually brings it up to 4, so that's great. And we get to counteract the world economic downturn with that card, so at least there's that. All right. So last one here is only a single card. That's good. Draw card. UN selects new Secretary General. Roll D10 for a random region. 8. Africa. Perform 1 humanitarian aid action and 1 infrastructure aid action. Man, remember how good Africa's doing? It's doing really good. It's really doing good. What's the UN chart that just showed me here? Oh, not that one. This one here. WD3. That's what I need. The UN action chart. Okay, so regional crisis is 1 to 8, and then stability is 1 to 5. And we have no positives or negatives here. So decreasing crisis actually has no effect. So I guess we just roll on the 1 to 5 and hope for a stability increase. Come on, Africa. Yes, Africa! Come on, baby! The new UN Secretary General is either from Africa or has a special interest in improving Africa. Spoils? What does it mean, spoils? Those are the spoils of this card. Make an alignment check in the new leader's region. Yes, they're from Africa. So alignment check means we need to get a 6 or less. Yeah. Get 1 free U.S. action at the UN immediately. Excellent. And then this goes and gets discarded. We have a UN goodwill counter we could use here. And we could use it. Arms control negotiations. I don't think we want that. Decrease 1 level 2 or 3 terror group in a single region by 1 level. I think I want to do that in Africa, maybe. Actually, no, you know what? I want to lower these crisis levels. I'm going to lower crisis in South America if possible. So here it is. Got it. Because we're coming close to the end of the year. And if you can get crisis down to 0 by the end of the year, things are going to be good. Okay. That was our final thing. Now we get to do any 3 actions. And then we get a core support check. Well, we're going to try to move our bill in the appropriate direction with a POTUS using bully pulpit speech thing here. We're going to start with that. Roll a d6, -1 for bipartisan cooperation and -1 for the orator trait. Means we're going to be pretty dang good here. So d6 -2. Ugh. It's a failure. We could do it again. There's no prohibition about it, but it costs us 1 AP to do that. I think we forgot to do that last time. So, we're going to try to do that one more time. This is our second of 3 actions. All right. -2 on the roll. Oh! God, blimey. That's not good. Okay. We could now do a relations with Congress roll, because it's finally in a situation where if we spend a presidential action point, it's not going to have another negative. So this is only going to be positive probably. So that's a 4, no change. All right, that's our 3 actions. Son of a bitch. Now we've got terror or chaos around the world. Which will it be? It will be chaos! Okay, so when you roll a chaos act during this segment, do the following. Increase the conflict status track on a random conflict. I keep forgetting about those. I should really do something about that. 6 goes up by 1. The North-South Korea tensions are rising. Then roll another d10. A 3 is draw a new cascading event card from the unused pile. Then place in the 2 pile unless it directs otherwise. So draw it as normal, but it's just coming from here. North Korea infiltrators attack Republic of Korean infrastructure. Oh, God, that's just a cascade. It's now almost war. What? It's a 1-2 punch here from chaos. Jesus. Okay. Add one tension counter to. Hold on. Let's drag this over to where it's going to be necessary to read it. 2 tension counters to North and South Korea. Things were going so well there, though. You guys, come on. And 1 to China and 1 to Japan. I really need to lower their tension over there in China, I think. If you wish, you may spend 2 APs to move a single Marine unit from the U.S. military assets box to the Republic of Korea and to move any one carrier. No, I think we're okay. If the DPRK conflict status is 1 or 2, increase the status by 1 box and add 2 tensions. If it's 3 or higher, move it to 5 immediately. Holy moly. So I have to get it back to 2 to avoid war when this comes up next. Gulp. Okay. Well, time for our allies to help us. And then the UN is coming to save the day. We can try to get them to broker a peace there a little bit, or keep tensions down. So, Group B is the UK, Japan, and... Uh-oh. Guys, it's North Korea. That's real bad! Oh, no! Okay, activate the UK. We do have a very close relationship with the UK, so we get 2 here. And the joint actions we could perform, I think... we could try to increase stability here in the Eurozone. High stability is just good. We could also do humanitarian aid around the world to try to decrease these crises tracks. Let's lower the crisis here at home first. So 1 to 8, success. And then we're going to try to increase stability here. 1 to 5. Damn. Did them in the wrong order. All right. That was the UK. Now they're going to do their own unilateral actions. We flip this, and whatever they do, they're going to get a +2 to it, to the roll here. We don't have any terror groups in the Eurozone. Is the Russia-NATO conflict higher? Yes. So they get a +1 from that. So they get a +3 total. That's a 10. Anti-terror campaign. Ah! Useless. Oh, no, there's a terror group in Eastern Europe, so they do manage to deal with that. Okay. Next. Japan acts, and they are very close, so they get 2 actions as well. They could help deal with these terror groups. I'm going to say their action is first going to be doing this, and the second one is going to be increased stability. Yes, they got the stability increase, baby! Up to 7. Beautiful. Now they're going to do the unilateral action. In this case, it is a +2 total. Well, that's good news. Oh, that's right. They don't get any more. So +2 total, and then they redraw 2 of these because they round down. So they only redraw 1. My mistake. So +2 to their unilateral action here, and half of the track on China, Japan, which is 1, and it's rounded down, so none. All right, so they only add a +2 total to their roll, which is really low. Damn it, 7. Join U.S. sanctions. Replace 1 unilateral with a multilateral counter if none roll again. Come on, low numbers. Yeah. 4. Détente. Remove 1 Chinese tension counter. Beautiful. That's helpful. Okay. Now, we have to activate North Korea. Gulp. So they have +3, and we draw 2 for them, half rounded up for rogue states, half rounded down for your allies. Roll a d10 and refer to their chart, reply the results, remove all tensions. Yeah. So, replace. Oh, that's right. We're going to have to flip over the sanction counter. So what did we just say that was? That was a +2 total? +3 total. Yikes. But the UN sanctions, no effect. Damn you, UN sanctions. Lack of effect. All right, so +3 to their roll. And half the value of the track. Oh, God. So another +2. They have a +5 to this roll. If we roll high, they're going to war. And there's nothing we can do about it. Son of a bitch. Okay. Hold on. Oh, yeah, they're going to war. If relative strength favors the North Koreans, set up war with Republic of Korea. If relative strength does not favor them, same as a 12-13 result, prepare for war. But the prepare for war says increase this by 1 step. And increase the status on the track. I'm going to go ahead and edit that to say, well, no, I guess it does. It triggers war. That's terrible. It's terrible bad, but that's what reality is. Okay. If the result falls within the blue area, add +1 to their missile track and decrease APs by the number listed. Ay, ay, ay. So also, they did better with their missiles now. They now are on to miniaturization and mating of warheads. So I lose 1 presidential action point. North Korea, South Korea, China, and Japan get a tension marker. I need to diffuse some tensions here, guys. This is getting real bad. And I think it's in Japan, right? Gulp. Yeah, that just happened. That's right. So I don't know if we do an initial roll or we set it up now. I'm gonna have to double check that. I think we do the initial roll. Yeah. So let's pull up that WM5. War progress. When a war starts. Okay, so yep, that's exactly what it is. Now, between the North and South Koreans, it's always an air-ground war. So we open this up, shrink it. We get rid of the previous counters here. The regional troops are not here. And we are going to need to pick who this is war with. So, nope, not that. Pieces. And we need war, enemies, war with Korea. And our ally is, of course, South Korea. And this is an air-ground war. Okay. Country at war, showing the right thing, depending on which country is the attacker. Okay, so now we determine the strength. So in this case, North Korea is going to start at 6 plus 1 because they increased their strength on this relative track here. Our strength is going to start with South Korea's 6, and then we're going to add all the strength of the U.S. troops that are here. We have a heavy army here. That's another 6, so we have 12, 15, 16, and then this USMC gets to participate as well. That's part of the errata. That's 19. And then I've got 4 from the carrier strength here. That's a total of 23. So odds are not in favor of the North Koreans. Oh, I also have this in the wrong side here. The North Koreans are the attacker in this case, and we are the defender. Because the war broke out on their turn. So it's safe to say this was their choice. Okay, so now that we have determined the odds, we get a free cyber attack, which might help us. Including the onset of war. Yeah, we make an immediate cyber attack against the target. In this case, it's North Korea. If we're successful, we'll lower their strength by 2, I believe. The strength here. So the cyber attack is no special modifiers, I believe. Oh, -1 because it's against North Korea. And I don't think it counts as a joint attack unless... No, that's as a result of an ally action. Okay, so it's just a straight-up roll against North Korea's military and government infrastructure. Ooh, it's an 8 -1 is a 7. -1 to regional crisis in Asia Pacific. That's the only thing that happens here, which is already at 0. So, oh well. Cyber attack didn't work super well. If we got extra lucky, we would have weakened their everything. But now we have to do the actual war progress roll. So here we have to look at, and we know for a fact that we were 23 on defense and they are 7 on offense. That is less than 1-to-1 odds for the attacker. Let's look at the other things. We have a combined air-ground war DRMs. Because we're the defender, we get +1 for having ourselves in the battle. When the U.S. is in, they get +1. U.S., China, and Russia and Israel automatically get +1s for the quality of their troops. We get another +1 for the heavy army here. We get another +1 for the U.S. Air Force. And we don't get a -1 for China being here. That's good news. So 3 total, it seems, in our favor. So we're rolling, we're rolling, we're rolling. Ah, beautiful. 8 + 3 is the 8+, which means the conflict status, which starts at the stalemate, actually, now goes 1 in favor of defending forces winning, and then 2 attacker losses. So -1, -1. Beautiful. That's the best possible outcome we could get. And if that happens again, which it could very well happen here, the war very well might end. Excellent, etc., etc. Now, so the war starts and ends very quickly when North Korea realizes they can't get across the border without being immediately murdered by everybody. Kim Jong-un got a little bit overzealous there. Okay, so that was North Korea's nonsense, but now I think we have to check unstable states. Yes, in Central and South America, I feel like we've already done that. Oh, no, here we go. Not in Central South America. In Eurozone and Eastern Europe. There are no states there, so we skip it. Okay, excellent. Now we go to the UN. Save us, UN! Save us! Oh, boy. Okay, let's pull them up and see what the UN can do to save the day. Well, they automatically do a humanitarian action in the area with highest regional crisis value, resolving ties randomly. So it looks like we've got 2, 2, 2. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this roll. So it's going to be Central America. So they are going to roll and succeed in lowering the regional crisis. Then they're going to try to increase stability with infrastructure aid to the region with the lowest stability in the world. So we've got, that's going to be Central America again at a 4, I believe. Yeah, looks like it's Central America again. So they're focusing on Central America, and we need a 1 to a 5. Damn you. Then they're going to attempt to reduce terror in the lowest stability region in the world on a 1 to 5 for the Youth Empowerment Program. Success! So we lower terror 1 level here. Yep, okay. And then they're going to do peace talks in a civil war. Choose 1 civil war or ceasefire in the region with the lowest stability. Not here. So it's either going to be Middle East or Central South Asia. Central South Asia also has very low stability. I should have chosen between those two, but I forgot. Whatever. We're just going to assume that Central America got the die roll there. So peace talks in a civil war. So this one is just a straight up roll. It's a -1 for the UN action. Regional stability is less than 5, so it's a +1. So it's straight up a 4, which is a ceasefire. Excellent. Nope, of course not. Why would ceasefire civil war be on the other side of civil war? Ay, ay, ay. All right, and decrease regional crises by 1. Excellent. Good job, UN. I wonder if I should do that as well, because now I get 2 opportunities to use the UN for good. I think we're going to do an infrastructure improvement in Central South Asia to try to increase their stability there. And this roll gets a -2 to it, so a 7 or better. Come on. Yes. Beautiful. And then we have to choose something else. We can't do another infrastructure option. We have to choose a different option. We get, you know what? We're going to try to de-escalate a conflict here. Could be Russia, Ukraine, Gulf states, and Iran. Let's do Russia, Ukraine. No, let's do Russia, NATO. That actually helps us a little bit here. Let's do Russia, NATO, de-escalate. Roll of 1 to a 5 also removes 2 tensions from either side on a success. So, excellent. We got it. So the Russia-NATO track is now back down to 1, and we remove 2 tensions on either side. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do that. The 2 tensions from Russia is going to be very helpful. NATO actually doesn't have any tensions, so that's that. All right. And I forgot we had to flip this marker for that. So, there we go. That's the UN. They've done their thing. Now we get 3 domestic actions. Shall we try to improve our relations with Congress again? I think I want to try it. 1 AP, relations with Congress, is now going to be, we need a 4 or less. Got it, got it. That's a 1. That means we increase it, and we get a new friend if our party relations allow it. Finally getting good results here. Our party relations allow 4 friends max, so we can have 1 more friend in Congress. A moderate, thank God. Now we're going to try to get rid of this opponent, because we finally have good relations with Congress. So I think that if we flip over to the evil side here, we try to discredit or dissuade a congressional opponent. Now, our public approval is not quite 60, so we don't benefit from that yet, but I am going to spend 1 point in order to do this. And our domestic rating of our chief of staff is going to add another -1. Now, the opponent that I'm going after is a 2 or a 3, so that's a +1. So I have a -1 total to this. It could backfire. But here we go. That's a 4. Expose dirty tricks. Congress is angry. Ah, damn it. Well, we tried. Why don't we work... We have 1 more diplomatic... Oh, you know what? Domestic. Let's work on a lingering domestic issue here. Last thing we want to do. We have a -1 here, and then a +2. So +1 to the roll, and it's a cabinet effectiveness check, so we need to get a 5 or less. Damn. We could re-roll it with 1 AP. I will do that. I really want to get this down there. Okay. Minus... It was a +1. That's a failure also. Damn it. All right. No effect on the lingering domestic issues track, -1 public approval for failing to address it. We said we were going to try to address it, and then we failed. Okay, that sucked. Next up, 3 crisis cards. Oh, boy. I don't have a lot of APs left. I should have saved that one, but it is what it is. Here we go. Separatists destroy major Gazprom pipeline. Uh-oh. Russia and Eurozone get weakening economies. Russia's economy is absolutely terrible. +1 regional crisis in Eastern Europe and the Eurozone. Damn it, we just got those down to 0. -1 AP marker and 3 tensions counters on Russia. We just got rid of those too. Ay. Another -1 AP. Russia's going to act like doing nothing on their turn, which is good. It's good that they're going to do nothing, but it's bad that they're going to be very mad at us about it. And then roll a D10 with no modifiers. A 7. That sounds bad. Russia blames Ukraine and invades or reinforces Crimea. Place 2 Russia influence counters in Eastern Europe. Add 1 tensions counter. Holy crap! I just got done diffusing that situation. Do you remember? I lowered... Oh, no, I lowered NATO and Russia, didn't I? Okay. Well, I thought really hard about lowering the Russia-Ukraine track. Okay. Add 1 tensions counter to Russia and 3 to NATO. What else? 2 to the UK. Move Russia's U.S. relation box 1 to the left. Oh boy, now it goes to Cold War adversaries. That's terrible. +1 regional crisis in Eastern Europe. If you wish, you may automatically place a multilateral sanctions counter on Russia, but place a 1 AP counter on Russia if you do. Yes, I'm absolutely going to do that. They have to be shown that this is not acceptable behavior. Multilateral sanctions on Russia. Huh. It doesn't say they start a war with Ukraine, which seemed to be what it implied. Oh, Crimea, specifically. This is the not quite war, but kind of war in Crimea situation. So it's not represented by anything other than all those effects that we just stated. So, okay, that was pretty bad. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was pretty bad. At least I've made a friend in Congress. That's right. We might pass some bills next year. Russia uses oil as a weapon in Europe. Wow. Okay, so they're really upset about all this. Gulp. Place 1 tension on Russia and then roll a d10. Boy, they are very tense. Guy, just get a really good masseuse, okay? With no modifiers. A 1. Target Eastern Europe. Place a Russian influence counter. Oh my, this is impossible. They're going to just straight up win the game. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The next time they act, they win the game. That's very bad. So we're going to spend a lot of these. Well, we can only do once per round to reduce it. That's very bad. Oh, boy. We reduced it almost as much as we could. The last thing we could do was domestic actions. And when we were here, we might not have done it there. We might have done it here. We did it here and here, I thought. No, we did it here and here. But who knew they were going to add so many extra influence markers? Jesus. All right. Okay. So we know the target was Eastern Europe. Place 1 Russia in, and then 1 regional crisis there. Place a Russian... Oh, that's the wrong thing. So that's the end. So now this affects Eastern Europe and or Eurozone if there's at least 1 Russian influence in the region. Okay. So as long as we keep, though, the alignment up at 5 or higher, we'll be okay. So that goes to deck number 2. All right. Final card here. Party rift develops. -2 to party relations. Oh, boy. That's real bad now. Choose to send 0, 1, or 2 APs to address the problems, then make a party relations check, subtracting the number of APs. Oh, God. Randomly remove 1 friend in Congress. Okay. I don't know that I can afford to spend any APs on this. Gulp. Because after this, we still have 2, potentially 3 more cards to draw, and we know for a fact that that stupid earthquake could come back up. I think we're just going to have to take the penalty and remove 1 random friend. We've got a lot of friends. Actually, we have to reduce to 2 friends max by this whole thing. Oh, things were finally looking well. All right, fine. Because when our party relations went down, can I redraw? This is terrible. This is just terrible. At least I've made a friend in Congress. Not anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll ignore any other results. So unfortunately, Melanotome, you're being returned to the cup. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And unfortunately, our moderate, Julia Chen, is also being returned to the cup. I will spend 1 AP on this. I really have to keep the other 2. So that gives us a -1 to the roll. And it's a party relations check. So that means a 4 or less. Nope, it was a waste. Randomly remove 1 friend in Congress. They no longer support you and place it back in the draw cup. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's the second one. They're actually kind of identical. Except the moderate's the one that I wanted to keep. Son of a... All right, we lose 1 approval. And then media slant. But media's on my side, so I get the approval back. Because they're like, this is horrible. The president is right about this. So this goes to the reshuffle pile. Yikes. All right, now a war progress track. Maybe we can finally get some luck. And we've got this war in North Korea. I forgot to put the war token out to show that there's a war here. War number 1 is happening here. And we know that it's still ridiculous to nothing, but we're going to go ahead and roll our cyber attack against North Korea, I think. The problem is that could backfire on us, right? Let me pull it up. Have I considered that I might be cursed? Maybe. Maybe. So the cyber attack against North Korea, what is the worst thing that can happen if the world reacts badly? Russia and China each denounce the U.S. for interference in the affairs of their ally. Place a worsening counter on relations. North Korea declares that this is an act of war. If this causes war, North Korea gets surprise. So that's the worst result. But that can't happen, actually. So the worst result is really North Korea knows you did it, and they tell the Russians and Chinese 2 tensions on North Korea and Republic of Korea, and 1 tension on China and Japan. That's a 30% chance. China and Russia, actually. I don't think it's worth... I think we're going to win anyway. I don't think it's worth it. So we're going to go ahead and just roll with our -3. It should be the same as last time. So let me open up that table. It's like near the end, right? Yes. So we are hoping... Or +3, I'm sorry, +3. We're hoping for a 5 or better, because we're the attacker, or defender, rather. Yes, excellent, excellent. That wins us the war. We move 1 to the right, and 2 attacker losses. If one side has not won, then make peace. But one side did win, so now we have to go to the chart that says, if war ends, and see what the heck happens here. For U.S. victories, +2 public approval, +1 relations with Congress. See, this war's the best thing that happened to us. +1 relations with Congress. +1 media relations. Damn. +1 party relations. Okay. +2 legacy points. So it goes from 9 to 11. Place a trending pro-U.S. counter in the region in question. You may immediately move up to 2 U.S. units from the war's region, either home to the U.S. forces box or to another region. Move any conflict track representing the combatants of this war back to the status 2 space. Back where you started. All right. Do I want to move any of those? I can't move the Marines or the Heavy. Those are required to stay there by treaty with Korea. So I don't need to move them. I could move the Intel and Spec Ops to deal with terror groups elsewhere with a better... Oh, yeah, I want to move them home. I forgot we've got a terror group in the continental U.S. I definitely want to move them home. Take me home, terror groups. Okay. For North Korea / Iran losses, -1 AP counter. This will force them to skip their next ally rogue activation. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Decrease their nuclear and missile track by 2 boxes. Hell yeah. Take that thusly. All right, I think that's the end of that war. Could not have ended any better, I think. Now we have to do civil wars, though. Which is actually on my other chart. Here. There's the Civil War chart. So, we have to go from state to state and check all the civil wars. See what their status is. Ceasefire in Eastern Europe. Here we're hoping for a 1 to a 4. We got a 7, which means nothing happens. There's still a tense peace. All right, and what's next? Next, we'll go to the Middle East. We'll do this ceasefire first. 1 to a 4? Yes. So that's a 4. Is permanent peace, but nation is fragile. Remove the Civil War ceasefire counter. Decrease regional crises by 1. Place an unstable state in the region. So the ceasefire is now more permanent, but it's still not quite stable. And then we have to do this civil war. Oh yeah. Replace the Civil War counter with a ceasefire counter. And put some UN peacekeepers under there. They agreed to UN peacekeepers. Excellent. And decrease regional crises by 1. The Middle East is in better shape than it used to be. Okay. Now we got to do the Civil War ceasefire over here in Central / South Asia. Come on, low numbers. Oh no, an 8 is renewed fighting. +1 regional crisis. And +1 civil war. And then we have to roll for the other civil war. Low numbers. 7 is fighting continues, no further effect. All right, those are all of the civil wars. So now we get any form diplomatic or military actions. And my God, we better use it on Russia. We better use it on Russia. Holy cow. But we can only use this once per segment. So we better damn well get a 6 or lower. Yes. Okay, they may not be losing. They may not be winning the game anymore. So we get 3 other actions. I'm going to try to lower crises as much as I possibly can here. Let's do maybe the terror. Oh, these are diplomatic or military. So I can do the terror one. So let's go ahead and try to deal with this, which is actually, isn't that a domestic action to deal with a terror group at home? Track terror target in the CON-US. Can I use a military action to do that? Gain intel on terror groups to maintain operations during any activation segment in which militaries can be taken. Select 2 terror groups. 2 terror groups? I've only been doing that 1 time. Oh, that's much better now. I guess, then, we can use that once here and once somewhere else. So, 1 to 4, we've got a -1 of the roll, so 1 to 5 failed. Okay, so we didn't do much there. But we get to do another terror group. We're going to try to locate this terror group here. And this is going to be also a 1 to 4. Actually, it's going to be one of these terror groups here in Central South Asia. So this is a 1 to 5 because it's where we've got our focused national security apparatus, and it fails miserably again. Why wouldn't that work? Why would that work? Okay, so now we're going to try to address a crisis someplace where it will matter. We're going to do it in Central America. Roll 1 to 8. Got it. Crisis down. I think that's all 4, right? No, that's 3. I did this. I did this. I did that. I can do one more, maybe. Oh boy, Eastern Europe crises. That's a failure. I'll spend 1 AP to re-roll that. I don't want a major crisis. Okay, that's down by 1. Oh boy, okay. U.S. state of the economy impact. That's good news. So improve ally relationship 1 level. I'm going to do that with India. And then, oh, this was actually going on North Korea, not on South Korea. Put that in the wrong place. All right. Hello, Relvar. I do like the game. I like it so far. What happened with Russia? Yeah. Russia's got a lot of tensions. They really hate us, and their economy is in the toilet. And they have a lot of influence in Eastern Europe. There were a couple of events that did that to us. Okay, so now we're getting those state of the economy. I did one there. Now I can add a trending pro-US somewhere. We might as well do it. I think we'll do that here in Asia. So those are those 2 actions. Now I also get 3 public approval for the economy being so good. I get 2 action points, which I desperately did need. And then I get 1 relations with Congress. Excellent. Okay, now we move up to the final activations. Draw 1 card. Renewed outsourcing drives up unemployment. +1 domestic crisis. -1 public approval, place a worsening economy counter and a tensions counter. That's annoying. Move jobs creation package to number 1 on the public priority list. So these all scroll down here. And we got to grab the public relations. Or jobs package is what it's called, right? There it is. Job creation package goes to number 1 on their to-do list. Oh, man. I wanted NASA funding to pass while it was a public priority. It would have given me better... Oh, well. It is what it is. Next up, what was the other thing on that? Worsening economy counter. And then I get +1 approval because the media slant is slanting things in my favor. So at least there's that. So -1 +1, and then the economy gets a trending downward counter, and that is gone. Now, we did have a plus on that, so we got to draw again. Oh, 2 more cards. Oh, come on. Hang in there. Famine fuels desperation in North Korea. Roll a d10 and add the current conflict status as a DRM. So it's a 2. So that's a 4. North Korea trades strategic minerals to China for food and weapons and military supplies. Adjust relative strength on conflict box 1 in North Korea's favor and place an economy improving counter on China. Oh, man, that gives them the peak performance. That's just awful. And then they get improved strength here relative to the Republic of Korea. They're now at a +2. Not that it's going to matter. The U.S. strength there is just so overwhelming. Let's see. Roll. So we did that. What could it have been? Decrease conflict track by 1 box if they asked the Republic of Korea. Anyway, this is a reshuffle. So goes there. And then we've got 1 more off of this. Rogue state ranks swell with new recruits. If there's a level 1, 2, or 3 rogue state, there isn't. Increase it by 1 level. If there's not, place a new level 1 rogue state in a world region with the most terror groups. Oh! Africa, you were doing so well. Actually, it's the Middle East. It's the Middle East. They have 4 terror groups. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Yeah, max 4 terror groups here. Okay. You got to check because when stability is high, the number of terror groups can't go up. Okay. So that sucks. We just got rid of one rogue state in Afghanistan. Now, I don't know what. Iraq is doing something over here. So next time this comes up, if there's currently a level 2 or 3 rogue state on the map, bad stuff happens. Really bad stuff. If there's no level 2 or 3 rogue states on the map, either increase a level 1 or place a new level 1. Son of a... Okay. Go to the second deck. Now I got to declare war on a rogue state. Oh, or maybe I can do a cyber attack. I don't remember. I don't remember. I think you can cyber attack a rogue state down to terror groups, but maybe not. I think war might be the only solution. Okay. So 1 to 4 ends the turn. Mercifully. No, it does not. We draw 1 more, which is 1 more card. Renewed fighting in the Balkans. You got to be kidding me. We had that under control. So 1 regional crisis in Eastern Europe. Roll a D10. DRMs are minus the number, the current level of Russia-NATO conflict track. It's a -1. I don't know why that being higher is good for us, but okay. Oh, no. It's +1 from that. Hang on. Oh, it is. It's -1 from that, and it's... The current Russia influence marker is +3. Oh, boy. Okay, so I guess that's a +2 to this roll. So a total of 4. NATO pressure forces Serbs to back off -1 regional crisis. Okay. Not terrible. That's actually probably the best result, because the other options could have been NATO intervenes with air power and sets up an air missile war. That's why. Okay, interesting. So if the balance of power is kind of in NATO's favor, current level of the Russia-NATO conflict track. So the closer Russia and NATO are to war, then the more likely the lower outcomes. Whereas the more bases the Russians have, the more likely the outcomes on the other side. Okay, so that's being discarded to discard forever. Go away. We don't want you. This is now finally going to the reshuffle because it's the end of the year. Okay. We've got a few things to clean up here. Quite a few things to clean up. All right. End turn. So there are a bunch of consequences here. We've placed this back here. Corresponding world set posture 1, then return all other crisis jets. So we return all other crisis markers. So we're going to take the Russia acted, China acted up out of the way. Where's the other summit card? There's the other summit. Now the rest of these are just going to go back to the cup. Okay. And now we move all bills that were passed. We did actually advance the space thing. So that is now available down here. We could try to pass, these are called Great Society bills, I think. So we can now do the expanded, better version of the space exploration Great Society bill next year if we wanted to introduce it. Move all bills in the past and sign blah, blah, blah. These bills are out of the game, remain blah, blah, blah. Place a trending anti-US counter. I don't know how you can ever increase this unless you do a summit with them like every single turn to try to improve things. Or every single phase. Adjust public priorities by moving counters up the list from bottom to top to fill in blank spaces. Then for any blank priorities, draw new ones. You may now change or reorder your administrative legislative priorities if you choose. Probably should just match what's going on with the public, right? They want a job creation package. I should probably do that for them. Education. Well, here's the thing. These are the things that are on the docket, right? Increase NASA funding, lingering domestic issue. Like these are things that are going to pass soon. So we should make those our priorities to some degree. So let me pull up the shit's here. So I think we're trying to get our NASA deal passed, and they're trying to pass their education reform. So let's keep education reform there. Let's keep tax reform there. And let's add our lingering domestic crisis as our third priority. Okay, so we've rearranged these back here for now. Got it. Okay, now we have to see all the consequences of regional stability and other things. So, if regional stability is 7 or 8, I don't think anybody, yes, Asia Pacific got there. Decrease the lowest level terror group in the region by 1 level, thus eliminating a level 1 group. Done. If there are any rogue states in the region, reduce the largest one by 1 level. Remove 1 unstable state counter from the region. So it's really good to get your stability up to level 7. That's the only place where that is true, however. So if regional stability is 6, we place a new level 1 terror group out there. That's garbage time. So now there's another level 1 terror group here in the Eurozone. And there's a new level 1 terror group in the Middle East. And what other is number 6 stability? I think those are the only ones that are 6 stability. Okay. If stability is 5, place 2 new level 1 terror groups. Oh, and actually we have to roll for the rogue state here as well. We're hoping for a level 4. We're hoping this rogue state falls apart. Damn. No effect. It might have fallen apart because we were level 6 in this region, but it didn't. Okay. So now we need to place 2 new level 1 terror groups in every place that is stability 5. But no more than 4 total terror groups. Okay. Stability 5 includes this guy. And stability 5 includes this guy. Stability 5 also includes this guy, but you can't have more than 4 terror groups, which means, I believe, the highest terror group increases by 1 instead. Oh, Africa's in trouble. Africa's in trouble. All right, and what other is stability 5? Also Central South Asia. Yeah, 1 terror group gets added, and then it gets boosted up to level 2. That's what happens there. All right, now for stability 4, 2 new level 1 terror groups. Also 2. Okay, so that's not too different. The difference is the number that you can have maximum. So where's stability level 4? That's here. And then another stability level 4. Is that the only stability level 4? We kept them all above. Okay, that's good. Okay. Good. Each terror group one at a time, blah, blah, blah. If a region containing U.S. allies now has 2 or more unstable state counters in it, decrease 1 ally relationship. Oh, crap. I guess we'll decrease Israel and then boost it back up at the beginning of next turn. We want to not have... That's the only time situation there, though. Okay. Okay. In 2 random regions, increase a level 1 terror group to a level 2. We don't have time to deal with all this. What are you talking about? So 9 and 5. So this goes up by 1, and then in 5, this goes up by 1. If there isn't a level 1 terror group in that region, blah, 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 then make a homeland security check. If you fail, add a level 1 terror... Jesus. 8 is a failure! Oh, no! We're gonna make anti-terror our #1 priority next year. And add a new terrorism card to the crisis deck. Good news, we get to ignore one terrorist attack. So this is probably what we're going to wind up using that on. So we're going to draw a random card, not look at it, and this gets added to, what does it say? Added to the existing crisis deck. Yikes. Rogue state impact in recruiting. Well, the damn thing came up at the very end. I didn't even have time to deal with it. If there's a rogue state 4, 2, or 3, if the rogue state 1, increase the regional crisis in the region by 1. Damn it! Oh, look, it was so close. If there are no rogue states of anywhere on the board, +1 to world pinning of the US. Well, that would have been nice. Randomly select one rogue state on the board, roll a d10. +2 if the rogue state has a -1 AP counter on it. It doesn't, so it's an 8. A failure to recruit. Remove -1 AP from all game-created rogue states that have them. We don't have that. Now for war effects. For each current war to which the U.S. has committed troops, place a worsening economy counter. We don't have one of those. For each civil war counter on the board, increase that region's regional crises by 1 box. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Resolve it before moving on. A major crisis in Central South Asia. Stap! Stap! All right, stability is 5. We have one very close ally, so that's the -1. +2 for the civil wars. All right, so it's a +1 to the roll. No! Decrease regional stability by 1 box. If there's a U.S. ally in the region, decrease 1 ally relationship. Place a trending anti-U.S. counter in the region. Possible I'm sorry, I missed a step here. Oh no, that trending U.S. didn't happen. I was looking at the wrong box. Roll a d10. 6. Add 1 China influence, and then possible refugee crisis. At least it's not a Russian influence. So the possible refugee crisis. This has happened in the Central South Asia. Again, we got to get those damn civil wars under control, people. We got to make sure they get stopped. So place a -1 AP counter on Russia, because again, those refugees are flooding into Russia, it turns out. So it's good that that happened, I guess. To them, not to us. Oh, boy. All right, what are people saying? I haven't checked the chat here. Cursed, I tell you. I am a very popular president in the U.S., but Russia has been playing their international games. That's true. It's true. We're going to have to deal with this again immediately in like the special activations phase. And maybe the State of the Union will cause the Russians to lose something. I don't know. We'll see. So now we're going to find out the effects of good governments and improving stability. So for each region that has a regional crisis rating of 0 and contains 0 or 1 unstable state counters and no rogue state counters of any level, increase their stability rating by 1. So there is 1 unstable state here. There's 1 unstable state here. There are no unstable states here, so the stability of Africa does go up by 1. That'll help. That will help. There's no unstable states here. And no rogue states, so Asia Pacific is very stable. Unfortunately, that does not apply to Eastern or Europe or the Eurozone. For any region that has a regional crisis rating of 1 and no unstable state counter, let's see, that would include the Eurozone. Remove any 2 tension counters from the region or decrease any 2 terror groups in the region by 1 level each. Let's remove tension counters from NATO for this region. And where else does that apply? It has to have no unstable states and a regional crisis of 1 at best. Oh, this should reset to 0. I think that's the only place that applies. For any region with a regional crisis rating of 1 and 1 unstable state counter, remove that unstable state. Huh. What if it's 0? Oh, actually, these do apply. For each region that has a regional crisis rating of 0 and contains 0 or 1 unstable state counters and no rogue states, increase that region's stability. So both Central and South America stability went up by 1. Beautiful. So now, regional crisis rating of 1 and 1 unstable state counter. Nope. Nope. Okay. EU economic stability. During the end of turn segment, the Eurozone state of the economy may impact Eurozone stability. If the state of the economy is 6 or higher, we're just short. It would increase the stability. If it's 3 to 4, it decreases stability. Otherwise, no change. An agent for peace, question mark? If all the following are true, then we get some good stuff. The U.S. or a U.S. ally is not currently involved in any wars. Check. There are 2 or fewer civil wars on the board. Check. Actually, the ceasefires don't count. You have 3 or more UN goodwill counters. Check. If all those things are true, then you are acclaimed as an important figure in helping the world move towards global peace. I win the Nobel Peace Prize. Excellent. We won 2 wars. 1 against North Korea and 1 against a rogue state. Therefore, we enforced peace on the world. So 5 legacy points to 16. 2 presidential prestige. That's very good. Presidential prestige is almost impossible to get, and there's a couple of things that make you roll on it, including events. Plus 5 public approval. We're maxed out at plus 70, baby. Plus 1 world opinion of the U.S. That's also difficult to get, but it also doesn't come up terribly often. Thank you for my acceptance speech. I would like to thank all of my advisors and cabinet that made this possible, all of the viewers on YouTube and Twitch. All right. Remove the 3 UN goodwill markers. Well, all of the UN goodwill markers, I assume, because they were used. And then we got to check world opinion of the United States. Check the current world opinion. Then survey the 8 world regions to determine how many have a regional alignment greater than or equal to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the number of regions is greater than or equal to the current world opinion of the U.S., increase world opinion by 1 box. World opinion is 6, so we would need 6 or 7 regions in order to increase it further. And it's not going to worsen, because that would require 3 regions to have an opinion of 4 or less, and that is definitely not true. Okay? Effects of trade agreements. I didn't get any of those trade agreements. So that's too bad. If I had gotten those trade agreements, I did do that in one other game. I can't remember what it does, though, so I'm going to look that up real quick. So if I'd gotten a trade agreement, then what could I have done? Oh, WD4, huh? Not D4. Oh, there's a chance that we would get a trending pro-US counter in the area. Economy improving. Removing influence from Russia and China. That's big. I need to get some trade agreements out there to lower their influence, baby. Oh, man, I need to do that a lot next time. But the problem, remember, I thought about doing it a couple times, but my relations with Congress were so bad that I didn't think it would be possible to pass it in Congress. So now I got to focus on it next turn. All right, now, campaign promises. Oh, I did not keep my campaign promises of increasing NASA funding. Unfortunately. So, -2 public approval and -1 party relations. Oh no! Party relations is back down to 3. You'll evaluate your success again at the end of the next year. If you still have not done it by the end of the 4th year, hang your head in shame and immediately subtract 3 legacy points. Okay, we're going to focus on getting that NASA funding passed next year. It's going to happen. Congressional reaction to your public approval. If your public approval is 60% or higher, yes, increase relations with Congress by 1 box. Beautiful. And draw place 1 new congressional friend, which we can do, technically. It's a radical again. Son of a bitch. As long as your party relations allow adding a new friend, if your public relations is blah, blah, blah. Add the New Year deck and reshuffle. If this is not the end of turn 4, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's add the New Year 2 deck. Unfortunately, the designer here did not add a button that would add the Year 2 deck by a simple right-click menu. So instead I have to say, drag 1,000 cards and do this. There we go. Now it's shuffled. Count the cards currently in the reshuffle pile. Specific cards. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 of these are randomly going to be thrown out, and 3 of them are going to go back into here, I believe. All right. So we're going to draw multiple cards, 3 cards, and go boom. Draw multiple cards, 3 cards, and discard all of those. Finally, we have our presidential performance evaluation at the end of each turn. If we do very badly here, we get an auto loss, but I think we're doing okay right now. So we're going to compare the bonus we get for public approval, which is currently a 9. Excellent. Plus relations with Congress, which is currently an 8. That's 17. We're going to add relations with media. That is 24. We're going to add the state of the economy. That is 31. Then we're going to add Homeland Security. That is 38. Then subtract 1 for each region that has a regional alignment of 4 or less. Only 1. That brings us down to 37. And any rogue state counter on the board. That brings us down to 36. If the total is 35 plus, you win an auto victory if this is turn 2. But if it's turn 1, we treat it as a 30 to 34. 2 legacy points. Boom, boom. Yeah, get that auto victory in before the Russians win an auto victory. 1 presidential prestige, which is maxed out now. And 3 public approval. Boom, back to maxed out. If that's the end of turn 1 or 3, begin a new turn by returning to the beginning of each turn sequence. If it's the end of turn 2, then we would have midterm elections. And the end of turn 4, we have a re-election check. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back around to the beginning of the turn. It's going to start with a State of the Union next turn and a couple other things, but we'll leave that for the next stream, which I will attempt to do tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you would like to join. Thanks for watching, everybody. It is very procedural, but it does tell an interesting narrative. That's true, Relvar. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good 4th of July.